name for myself, you feel me? Be outside.
Oh my God.
Welcome to the Miami.
Got that icky sticky sealed up in the duffel bag. My little cousin said 250 for a paper tag. I got the 17 targets on my leather jacket. The niggas try to up me, so I let them have it. Had to hit him with a bow, 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 bow.
Hello and welcome back to the Miami Sports Bar Podcast. My name is Joey. I am your host. And I am here once again with good news. The Dolphins have won. We are now 6-2. And yes, I know I did not hit up on that Eagles podcast. We can use the excuse that I was procrastinating, which is realistically what it was, because I am a top tier procrastinator. But I also really didn't want to spend an hour and a half showing you guys the countless missed penalties that we had against the Eagles, having to explain how that garbage time touchdown that they had in the fourth quarter to go up 14 doesn't mean that we lost by multiple scores. It's just kind of explanations that I didn't want to go through. And to be honest, that's not an excuse. I should have just done it. I should have just ate crow. At the end of the day, we lost. We beat ourselves once again, like we played when we played the Bills. While I'm on that, it's first of all, I'm really tired. I'm gonna go first after this intro into some bartender stuff. But just real quick to get out of the way, I'm tired of having to apologize for the Dolphins, having the schedule that we have. We play the teams that we play. The schedule is made for us. Unfortunately, for the haters, we do not pick who we play against. So what? Week 1, we beat the Chargers in LA. Of course, now that the Chargers are having a bad season, the Chargers are a bad team. So, we don't get respect for beating them, which is fine. Week 2, we play in New England. We beat New England. Sunday Night Football, we win by 7. New England now looks, garbage, of course, so we don't get respect for that. Week 3, I forgot what we had the home opener. Who do we have our home opener against? Oh, that was the Broncos game. 70-20. Of course, the Broncos just beat the Chiefs. The Chiefs had 9 points against a team that we scored 70 against, and they still have the Chiefs in first place over us, even though we're tied. Same division record, same conference record. But even though, so ESPN gives you the reasoning for the tiebreakers, and it says beats, and I'll try to show it later. It says has a tiebreaker over the Miami Dolphins based on strength of victory. And I guess, they lost to the Lions week 1, so I don't even get that. They beat the Chargers too, but all I know, it doesn't matter. You guys scored 9 against a team that we had 70. And they, and the Broncos had 24 against them. They only had 20 against us. Whatever, doesn't matter. Moving on. So it's not our fault. And then also, so it's not our fault that we have, these quote-unquote easy games, even though these are all NFL teams. The worst NFL team is better than the best college team. These are the type of arguments that people have been having for decades. It's not just about the Dolphins, so it's not something that, we got to take personally all the time as us Dolphin fans. We got to remember that. But also, it's not our fault that the first 2 games of the first 2 hard games of the season that we played, even though I would consider the Chargers was a hard game, the Patriots, a division opponent, a division rival, as an away game, was also a hard game. We played the Bills in Buffalo, right? We needed to win. We lost by 28. We beat ourselves. They only outgained us by 21 yards. Our defense didn't show up. Not making excuses. I'm just telling you the facts. That's the facts of the game. They outgained us by 21 yards. They beat us by 28. Our defense obviously didn't show up if they're beating us by 28 and we only got outgained by 21 yards. And then we play Philly in Philly. Of course, once again, we lose, penalties, whatever. I'm not going to, I'm not trying to make excuses because it's all just gets thrown back into my face and our faces as Dolphin fans. And then we play the Patriots at home, beat them by 14. Now we're 6-2 and whatever. And then now our third good matchup, our third tough matchup of the season, is against the Chiefs, And it's not even in Kansas City. It's in fucking Frankfurt, Germany. And I think that the only advantage that Mike McDaniel tried to gain out of it was having us fly out on Monday so that we could spend the week there, get over it, obviously way over. I mean, the Chiefs have already been there too, but not as long as we have, but he gave them, that a day or two to be able to like travel around and go see like, monuments, whatever, to go see like museums, whatever they want to do during the days off, explore the cities, and obviously get past jet lag. It's not our fault, right? And the same way the Miami Heat season started. Just to get through this intro real quick, because I'm still in an intro, but I'm already mad. The Miami Heat, we played Detroit for our first game. We're up by 19 in the fourth quarter. Ended up only winning by 1 or 2, whatever it was, to beat Detroit. I'm sorry, guys. I have the football game again in the background, so you might hear that and you might see me turning my head. And then after that game, we have a day off. We play Boston in Boston on Friday and gave a good fight. Unfortunately, we lost, but I'm really not worried about it. Play in Minnesota on Saturday. We lose. Jimmy Butler, Kevin Love sits. We literally played our Sioux Fall players. And then on Monday, we played in Milwaukee. That's a tough start to the season. And then we obviously lost to Milwaukee, even though we were down by almost by 20 plus in the fourth. Made a run, came back. I don't know what Eric Spoelstra had decided. They did not put there was a point in the fourth quarter with 4 minutes left. We're down by 8, down by 6, and Jimmy Butler's on the bench. At no point does he come. 3 minutes left, 2 minutes left. We're still in this game. Down by 6, down by 5. At no point does he put Jimmy Butler back in the game. I'm not saying that Spoelstra had conceded it, but I guess he just wanted to see what Jovic, Tyler Hero, and these backups from Sioux Falls can do. And that's not to talk shit, because we obviously are a great developer of players as a team, as an organization for the Miami Heat. And when I say we, I know I'm not part of the organization, because I already got my hater comments on TikTok saying this dude thinks he's part of the team. Of course I don't think I'm fucking part of the team, but I'm talking about the team that I follow. So I'm going to say we. So shut the fuck up. And that's for y'all. But yeah, and then we lost to Brooklyn yesterday, inexplicably. That was disgusting. And now we're 1-5. But thankfully, for Heat fans, that, we have an 82-game season. So being 1-5. And last year, we had a very slow start as well. And I explained this to somebody the other day, and I'm going to just say this because this is the only segment I'm really going to talk about the Miami Heat. What Eric Spoelstra and the coaching staff seems to do for the last 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years, realistically, is they're not worried about. They know who their starters are. They know who their stars are. They know who their playmakers are. You know what I mean? During the regular season, what they really tend to do is give all these deep rotation guys a. Ooh, but that was out of bounds and he didn't even catch it. No flags? Oh, he's dead. Oh, no, he's breathing. Treylon Burks almost just died on the field. What they do is they give all these deep rotation guys, they give them like an audition. How are you going to play throughout the season? Because when we play in the regular season, when the Miami Heat play in the regular season, because I know I'm not part of the organization, is they run like a 13, 14-man rotation sometimes, and they go deep in the bench. And so do many other teams. But, not as deep as we do. Especially with the players that we have. They're all, Sioux Fall guys and G League guys and, players that we're developing. Because once we get to the playoffs, Eric Spoelstra is running a strict 8-man, maybe 9-man rotation. So I understand that. Of course, it's not an excuse to lose, because no matter what, we want to win. You watch Eric Spoelstra on the sideline. Bro, me and my buddy Ronnie, we have this running gag about how Eric Spoelstra, we call timeouts Spoelstras, because as soon as he's pissed, Eric Spoelstra will be at the free throw line on the middle of the court calling timeouts because how irritated he is and how he's trying to talk to his guys and regroup. Like, we could go, the other team can score 2 back-to-back layups, like a 4-point run, because nobody calls a 4-point run, but it's a 4-point run, and he will be at the free throw line, the opposite side of the court, calling timeout, because he's so frustrated. So I know Eric Spoelstra doesn't want to lose, but I like what he does, because you have to look at our obviously we haven't won the championship these last 4 years since we got Jimmy, but we've been to the finals twice, been to the Eastern Conference Finals 3 times, 4 times. God, I gotta, the season's just starting. I gotta re-up. I might have to go look at one of my old podcasts to see how I felt about it, but you know what I'm saying. We're gonna be just fine. But you know how it is. Okay, so I paused real quick. Actually, I'm gonna talk about some bartender stuff real quick. I had just mentioned a moment ago that, wow, it looks like he's dead. Treylon Burks on the field after a 4th and 4 incomplete pass from Will Levis. Yeah, and he was still on the ground. So I had to pause. I was looking at it because I just wanted to see what was going on. And it really does not look good, And I'm not trying to make a joke out of it. And if you're an NFL fan and somebody watches football, when you see, because, for the most part, because the NFL is sometimes out of pocket and replays horrific injuries way too many times. This time they went straight to commercial, came out of commercial, and you saw both teams in a circle, all on their knees, praying for this man who was still on the ground. So, prayers up for Treylon Burks, bro. That's fucking horrific. That's awful. I have no idea what happened, obviously, and I'm not going to make that a focus right now because that's disgusting. And they're, honestly, and I give you live coverage right now. They have him on a cart. They're carting him off the field. And the Steelers are up by 4 with the ball. And that's the tough business with football, man. They go straight. What else do you expect? It just is what it is. You move on. It's just how life is. On a really fucking dark note. Somebody you love, care about, gets injured or worse. You take that moment, you grieve, you talk to your friends and family and whatever, and then just life has to move on because that's just unfortunately how life works. But anyways, now to get back into a better note. One thing, because, I'm trying to refocus back on the bartending stuff. And this one is just, I'm going to do bartender pet peeve after. So basically what I'm going to structure it, what I'm going to try to do is intro, bartender stuff, football stuff, bartender stuff, outro. Fair enough, right? So, if, and this only is going to ever happen with regulars or whatever, if we bet, right? So, it was a joke that was made to me. The person didn't really try to do it, but I've had it happen in the past. I've been bartending a long time, and I'm obviously been a sports fan the whole time. I've made bets and whatever, and I win and I lose. If I lose a bet, I'm not taking money out the register. I'm not taking money out of my tip bucket. Unless I'm working by myself or whatever, because that money's for me. I'm taking money out my wallet. So if we bet $20 on a game, and the next time I see you, and then you lose the bet, and the next time I see you, you try to tip me 20 on your credit card receipt or whatever, or you try to give me 20 in cash and say, okay, so where's my tip? At the end of the day, and I'm not saying you got to match the bet on your tip or whatever. Don't get me wrong, but if you lost a $20 bet and you pay on your credit card and you tip me $20 on that receipt, that goes, first of all, that goes on my taxes. That goes, that gets split with the other bartender, of course. That money, that's not how that works. When you bet somebody, you give me cash. I can't place it more simply than that. And that only came up just because and genuinely on the same night, I had just bet. Actually, well, no. So I had bet somebody that I went to high school with. Probably not even doesn't watch my podcast or whatever. I don't even know his name. He bet me $20 that the Giants would beat the Dolphins. Of course, the Dolphins won. I hadn't seen him for a couple weeks, and then last weekend I saw him on like that Friday, Saturday. It had to be Friday. He some regular was sitting next to him, was like, "Oh, Joey, did you know that he was a Giants fan?" And I was like, "Oh no," I was like, "Oh yeah," and I looked at him, I was like, "Oh shit, bro, you owe me $20," and he cashed out me $20. Cool. And like, because the first thing he said was like, "Oh, I'll put it on my tip," and I was like, "No, no, you got to pay me that separate. Like, you got to send that directly to me," which was not an issue. He sent it to me, and then he tipped me after. So, and then later on, I had another regular, Pat, this older gentleman from New York. Me and him talk a lot of shit. Where we have a lot of good banter. I would say like he's a really good sport, as am I. Good sense of humor. We like to talk shit, and he was closing out, and he's a good tipper, right? And he had like a $60 tab or whatever, $62 tab. That's exactly what it was. And no, 61.49. That's how good my memory is with work stuff. And I gave him his receipt, whatever. He gives me cash. I go to the register and I see it's 62 on the dot. And I was like, okay. And for a second, I was a little nervous and because it's a little awkward to go up to a customer and say, "Hey, you didn't tip me," especially when you know it's a customer that usually tips you very well, right? And I don't want to make enemies or disrespect somebody who normally tips me. So later on, after I went, after 5 minutes, I fucking grabbed my nutsack and grew up a little bit and said, "Hey Pat, you didn't tip me, bro. Like, what's up?" And I tried to make a joke out of it, of course. And he's like, "Oh, what are you talking about? How much should I give you? How much was that?" I was like, "Oh, your tab was 61.49, and he gave me 62." And you can see genuinely in his face the level of concern. Like, he genuinely was like, "Wait, I didn't tip you? How much did I give you?" He's a little bit of an older gentleman. I always have to tell him how much his check is because he can't even it's harder for him to read the receipt. So as soon as I said that to him, he goes down and he always has a wad of cash. So he starts pulling out his cash, and then as soon as he's already pulling out the 20 to give me the 20, he goes, "Oh wait, I thought you owed me $20 from that Philly game," and I forgot that I bet him that the Dolphins would beat the fucking Eagles by 20. I mean, not by 20. That the Dolphins would beat the Eagles for 20. And I was like, "Oh," well, I was like, "Wait, well, hold on." I was like, because I'm still working with somebody else that night. And I said, so I took his $20, put it in our bucket, and I took $20 out my wallet and gave him his 20 and said, "You're absolutely right." He's like, "No, Joey, you don't have to give it to me. I don't," because he was just fucking talking shit. He didn't care about the money. And I said, "No, I made you a bet. I owe you. I'm gonna give you these $20. I'm gonna take that $20 and put in our bucket. So really, I'm still, netting -10. But I don't want to punish the other bartender who had nothing to do with it. Obviously, that wasn't his intention. But that moment is what made me realize, oh yeah, this is something that needs to be mentioned. If you're betting a bartender or server or something like that, you don't pay us back on our tips. That's not how you pay us back. You pay us back by giving it to us separately, and then you tip me afterwards. And that's why I didn't make that a pet peeve, because it was a genuine miscommunication. And then the first guy who was a Giants fan, it was just more of a joke. You know what I'm saying? I guess none of that is probably interesting, but hey, I gotta put out some content and try to be famous. Pause again real quick. I was watching the game. Pittsburgh ended up winning. Definitely a little tricky there at the end. That was kind of crazy because it kind of looked like Quan Alexander picked it at the 1 yard line and then went into the end zone and fell down for the touchback. It was really close. They didn't really even look into it. Might have been a safety, but game probably would have been over either way. But that was a little questionable. If I was a fucking Titans fan, I might be hot that they didn't spend more time looking into that, because every turnover is automatically reviewed. So, but whatever. So anyways, the other story I want to talk about, and I'm not going to mention names because one of you, you tell me that you keep up with my podcast. I guess we'll test it right now if you bring it up to me next time I see you. So on Friday night, right? So we have this regular who comes into the bar once every morning, once every night. His name I will say because he's never gonna see this and it doesn't even really matter. His name is Sergey. He is not old, but like an older Russian man, a little frail. He's a quiet guy, stays to himself, very respectful. He has a lot of stories to tell, and he has little like different habits. Like he likes to take a tissue and he'll pick his nose at the bar and put his foot up on the high chair and pick his toes and stuff. And it's actually not really all that comfortable. And you know what, Sergey, if you're watching it, this is me telling you, please stop. Please stop picking your toes and your nose at our bar. But anyways, for the most part, respectful, polite, patient. Literally the least of our concerns every time. Let me just turn this fucking shit down. So other individual is someone, he's a regular in the sense that he comes there, but he's there probably maybe like 2-3 times a month. So he's asking to pay, and he puts his card down at the bar while he's waiting for me to bring a check. Sergey takes a picture of his card, right? And it's a Wells Fargo card. And my wallet was next to me. I'd even show you the front of my Wells Fargo card just to make the example, because Sergey's a little weird. And Sergey took a picture of this guy's card, right? The front of his Wells Fargo card, to show him his phone and be like, hey, isn't it funny how the front of cards don't have phone numbers or card numbers anymore and da da da? Which is stupid. I mean, obviously, the normal reaction for any person, any individual who sees somebody taking a picture of their card or is shown that somebody took a picture of their card is going to be one that is not a good reaction. But this individual who had the card facing up on the bar top on the counter did not receive it well. I would say that you, if you're watching this, you had a few drinks in you, right? Been there for a little bit and might have not reacted appropriately. Because if you saw the picture clearly showed that there was no card numbers, no expiration date, no CVC number. And if anything, it might have shown your first and last name, whatever. I could, if you wanted to argue just on that, you got it. Wrong. Don't do it. And no matter what, wrong, don't do it. But you are getting in this man's face. Like, you're telling me he's a fucking pussy, you fucking dumbass, you piece of shit. Like, you're threatening him. Like, I'm talking about like old, frail ass man has any threat to you, right? You are regular enough that if there's really an issue, you let a manager know, right? The manager can review the cameras, because we have cameras that will show everything. The cameras are high quality, right? Sergey would be more than willing to cooperate and show, because that's like, he's there twice a day. You might be there 2-3 times a month. He's there twice a day, right? Instead, you get in his face, whatever. I try to calm you down, doesn't work. I have like literally 7 checkbooks in my hand. Like, I was like this with checkbooks and I had to close them out. And I'm not going to punish other people because you guys are having some stupid situation happen. So I just immediately get on the phone. I call my manager, Ali. Ali comes over. And now we had this couple sitting like, so it's hard to paint a picture for you guys. But let's say like where the entrance of my bar is, there are 2 seats to the left of the entrance of the bar. All right. So let's say this is the entrance of the bar. And this 2 seats to the left right here, right? That's it before the end of the bar. That's it, right? There are 2 seats right there. That's where Chito is sitting and nobody else. And then to the right side of the entrance of the bar is where the next 15 seats occur. So Sergey is sitting at 901. At 902 and 903 is a black couple, and I have never met before. They had just sat down. They're not drunk. They're chill, super kind, super polite, super patient because I was a little busy when I got to them. I had just given his girlfriend had a strawberry lemonade. The boyfriend, the man, had a shot of Patron and a glass of water and was waiting on some chicken wings. No problems at all. This man at 903 started laughing at you attacking this frail old man verbally. So you decided to start calling him, vulgar words and slurs and treating him like he was really involved where you should have just ignored him from the first place. So when this man starts feeling threatened and disrespected, now he gets up and gets in your face. Next thing I know, it turns in, and I don't want to give all the details away because I don't want to be involved in all this, and that's why Sergey is the only name that I'll give because I know he's not going to watch this. It was a pointless fight. You guys are involved in an argument that never needed to happen. It all could have been killed. You could have said, Joey, right away, hey, Joey, this guy took a picture of my card. I want to see your manager. Boom. We kill it. We tell him, hey, you can't do that. We close him out. We kick him out. You want to call the police? Call the police. But there are some regulars there that don't want the police to be involved, right? You guys need to understand that you come here so often. You go to this bar enough that, listen, I understand when someone disrespects you as a man, as an individual, as a woman. It don't matter who you are or what you are. But if someone is disrespecting you, there are certain ways to go about it, right? If you've never been there before and if somebody is taking it too far, I understand maybe, you might go about it the wrong way. And it might be the right way, but it's the wrong way when you are recognized. It might be the wrong way when the other person is of no physical threat to you. You understand? You're at the bar, you're closing out. The guy took a picture of your car, of the front of the car that had no information. He could do nothing from that picture. He showed you the picture because he's just a little eccentric. He's a little different. He thought it was funny that he wanted to point out because he's an older man, and the way he grew up, there was card numbers, and I know it's stupid, but there was no card numbers on the back. They were all on the front. Every credit card, right? We all know this. All the credit cards had card numbers, CVCs. Well, CVC would be on the back, whatever. Expiration date and your full first and last name would be on the front of the card. And it's not anymore. So he thought it was funny, and that was his weird way of trying to show you because you looked approachable to him. And obviously, in the way, the state of mind that you weren't approachable. And he made a mistake. But you made a mistake by reacting the way you did. I mean, Ali literally at some point got so angry, got so mad. So I'll tell you, it was like this. So at some point, everything had calmed down, right? Ali had, there was multiple times where, there was one time where he had calmed everything down. And the Hispanic individual, who was a regular, had quieted down for a moment. And this other individual sitting at 903 had calmed down for a moment. And then this Hispanic regular, right, decides to look over Ali's shoulder and say, "You fucking pussy." Before this dude even got to react, Ali snapped like I've never seen him. This is my manager. This is my boy. I've known him for years. I've never seen him this angry. Immediately said, "Shut the fuck up. You know what? You're fucking done. Get the fuck out." Was ready to ban you. And by the end of it, he had calmed down so much and had so much kindness and patience in his heart. Even though you had sent him to 100, he still came back down to 50 and gave you another chance. So I really hope that you understand what just happened. Were you right about what you were mad about? Absolutely. But in life, We all need to learn. Just because something makes you angry doesn't mean you can react however you want. You have to react appropriately. Understandable. I might need to, reacting appropriately to your own anger is probably a lesson I need to take. Because when the Dolphins lose, I am fucking 10 out of 10 angry. I am a psychopath. So I might be able to take my own fucking advice on that. But, I don't even get close to that level where I'm trying to fight randos that I never met in my life. So, with that being said, I'm going to go into this Dolphins game that we had against the Patriots. And then I'll go into bartender pet peeves of the week after that.
You just bet on the Lakers. Shawty told me dive in, didn't think I could save her. I'm just out here just expressing why.
Okay, I'm back. Had to chill out for a sec. Well, in between that bartender segment, I'm already at 31 minutes. Jeez. For somebody that claims that doesn't like to speak, I talk a lot. Well, obviously, now I want to talk about the Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins #1. I'm going to go into some highlights from this last game. But first, obviously, of course, I want to talk about some stats that the Dolphins have, the Dolphins that I care about, have garnered. And I also, backtracking to what I said earlier, wanted to show you guys exactly what it says when it talks about why the Kansas City Chiefs have a better record than us, even though we are tied at 6-2. So just give me one moment, and I will pull that up. So I brought you guys up to, I put myself at the top left of the screen so that we can look at that. So it says right here, wins the tiebreaker over Miami based on strength of victory. I just don't understand that. Because like I, said earlier, I will repeat it now. The Kansas City Chiefs lost to the Broncos, where in that game, they did not even score 9 points against the Broncos. But when we played the Broncos, we had 70. We had more than, they had 9. What's 9 times 9 is 81. Whatever. So we had like more than, a little smidgen more than 7 times the amount of points that they scored. So they're going on strength of victory. So this is the Chiefs' schedule, okay? So the Chiefs lost to the Lions, right? 21-20. Cool. They beat Jacksonville. They beat Chicago. They beat New York by 3. They beat Minnesota by 1 score. They did beat Denver earlier this year, 19-8. And then, this is accurate. And then, hold on. Yeah, okay. That's crazy. They played Denver like twice in 3 weeks. Beat Denver by 9 points. Sorry, by 11 points. And then beat Los Angeles. And then lost to Denver 24-9. I just want to know, and I'm being like completely honest with you guys. Up until this moment right now that I pulled up these stats, I had absolutely no idea what, other than the week 1 against the Lions, because I obviously, any football fan, they watch that game, and maybe it would have taken you a second to remember it, but I did remember it. What's the strength of the schedule? Oh, because they beat the Jaguars? Is that it? Chicago, New York Jets, Minnesota, who is also, right? Minnesota is like equivalent to the Chargers because, great team, great talent, shitty defense, not playing up to their potential and fucking losing. The NFL is, I mean, obviously it's in the middle of the season, so it's not like I'm, it's not a big deal. But let's say everything stayed equal. Like, I mean, I guess we're playing the Chiefs, unfortunately. But let's say we weren't playing the Chiefs this week, and then by the end of the season, everything was the same. We went through our schedules and we're tied. And you're gonna tell me that they win based on strength of victory? Look at their schedule. I mean, Patrick Mahomes is genuinely the new Tom Brady. That they just, you know what I mean? Patrick Mahomes is the guy in the porn that you never see his face, and then the league and its fans are like all the other girls in the fucking porn shoot. They're just available. You see their faces. You see how they're getting fucked, but you don't see the one who's fucking them. It's fucking stupid, bro. And I mean, we better beat the Chiefs this week because this is unbelievable. And then we both have bye weeks after this game. I mean, deservedly so, because, to have to travel to fucking Frankfurt, Germany to play a game, unbelievable. As NFL is trying to fucking... I mean, I get the expansion, but Jesus, dude, all the way to Germany, bro. Like, I feel bad for the Jaguars. Like, I'll give the Jaguars all their credit in the world. Let me pull up the Jaguar schedule. The Jaguars, I'm absolutely certain they played back-to-back weeks in London. Dude, that's insane. Like, apparently the whole point of it, whatever, is that the owner for the Jaguars already wants to move out of Jacksonville. Not already, but like I'm saying, like, that's been something he's been plotting, and he knows that the international market is something that the NFL is looking to open up. So he's kind of thinking like, oh, if we can play more games in London, he creates more fans, creates more revenue, and then can be the first team in London. Does it not show it here? It's not showing it. I'm trying to see. Just so you see that ESPN is like hiding this as I put myself back up the top left. Oh, the asterisk right there. That has to be it. Say beat Atlanta in London. Yeah, this has to be it. Because I know they played Atlanta and they played back-to-back games. So they played Atlanta and then they played Buffalo. Oh, you beat Buffalo? Hold on. Full screen for this. Let's go, Jaguars. But, yeah, so you guys played back-to-back games in London. And, I mean, I know. I mean, look at this win streak, dude. 1, 2. Colts, New Orleans, Pittsburgh. You guys, they don't hate on them like how they hate on us. But, I guess that I would hope and assume that if the Dolphins played back-to-back games in London on behalf of our owner's request, presumably, and won both games, then maybe you guys would see us more favorable. So I'm not even going to hate on them. And at least one of those games was in Buffalo. Was against Buffalo. But it's like, that's why we really need to beat the Chiefs this week. We really do. Anyway, so before I go into the highlights from the game from the Dolphins and Patriots, I did want to talk about at this point, basically, because after this week, we go into a bye week. It's basically mid-season for us, 6-2, 8 games in. After this week, we'll be 7-2. It's 9 games in, and we have 8 games left. So we'll just say it's mid-season point for us. Right now, Tua is on track for 4,800 yards and 36 touchdowns. I called 5,000 yards and what did I say? 36. I called 5,000 yards and 40 touchdowns. I might have to go backtrack on these podcasts to go see what I did call because I know I did put it on record. But as of right now, Tua Tagovailoa, my apologies, is having an amazing season. He has 2,416 yards, 18 passing touchdowns, 7 interceptions. He is 2 below the league leader for interceptions, which is Jimmy Garoppolo, who just got benched at 9 interceptions, with missing a game, which is pretty sad for Jimmy G. The 7 interceptions for Tua is a little less concerning with the fact that he has the 18 touchdowns and 2,400 passing yards. Tyreek Hill is the first NFL wide receiver to have 1,000 yards through 8 games during the Super Bowl era. Because they'll show the stats and they'll be like, oh, it's the 4th player to do it. No. He is the first one to do it during a relevant timeline. It's the same thing I talked about, that 70-20 game against the Broncos. The first player to do it in a relevant time where there's actual rules, people's heads are not getting knocked off, and, it's just crazy. The talent, the speed, it's absolutely insane. Tyreek is also leading the league. Well, Tua and Tyreek are leading the league, respectively, in touchdowns. Tua has 18 touchdowns, which is tied for first. One of the people that he's tied with is Kirk Cousins, who is missing the rest of the season. I feel bad for you, Kirk. On behalf of Kyle, even though I don't think he wants it, I hope you go to Las Vegas to play for the Raiders, because I'm sure Devontae Adams would love Kirk Cousins over Aiden O'Connell. Who the fuck is that? Tyreek Hill is leading the league for touchdowns from a wide receiver. Raheem Mostert is still leading the league in touchdowns as a running back, period. He's at like 13 touchdowns for the season through 8 games, which is absolutely insane. And for everybody, and don't worry, I will make this a TikTok post. For everybody who thinks that, especially because Stephen A. Smith is, right, the biggest, sports commentator, and somebody who just throws out the hottest takes at all times. And he's literally on record saying, as they're showing Tua highlights as he's throwing to Tyreek, and every pass is minimum 10, 15, 20 yards downfield. He says all Tua has done, and I'm saying it like that because that's how he said it, and then he corrected himself later. All Tua has done is thrown 2 and 3 yard dink and dunks, out routes, whatever. I'm paraphrasing, of course, to Tyreek, and Tyreek makes it happen. So when everybody called him out a few days later, he goes, oh, no, well, I'm saying all he has to do because how great Tua is. Let me tell you, and then most fans, because a lot of people hate the Dolphins, a lot of people hate Tua, a lot of people hate Tyreek. I will tell you, and I'm not even going to show you because go ahead and Google it yourself, because it took me a minute to find the yards after catch stat page, like to find this stat, right, that was just confirmed. Tyreek Hill, hold on, let me find out. Tyreek Hill has 1,014 receiving yards, right? Oh, but it's all yak. He has 380 yards after the catch. So let's just turn 114 to 1,000. Take away 400, that's 600. It is so far from being all yak. And you want to look at the rest of the yak? Actually, I didn't even think about this. Let's do it. Puka Nacua, right? The biggest breakout rookie wide receiver of the season, has 310 yards after the catch. DJ Moore has 303 yards after the catch. Jamar Chase has 303 yards after the catch. 301 yards, I apologize. 291 yards after the catch for A.J. Brown. Evan Ingram. Wow, shout out to Evan Ingram being 6th on this list. Ooh, is he in Jacksonville? Okay, see, I told you they might be a little bit more legit than I thought. 295. Travis Etienne Jr. at 293. Rashad White at 276. Goddamn. Baker is definitely proving us wrong. But, and then Christian McCaffrey after that with 267. Yes, Tyreek Hill is leading the league in yards after catch, but that's because he's leading the league in receptions and touchdowns and yards. But not even half, not even 40% of his yards are coming from fucking yards after the catch, guys. And then, and it's the other thing where they say, like, remember where Tua was bad, and Jalen Waddle just led the game in receiving yards against the Patriots. I know it's only one game, but Jalen Waddle missed a game and a half. No, 2 games and a half. Like he had a concussion. He had a fucking an oblique injury. Like, are you guys not understanding? When were you guys ever punishing or disrespecting Patrick Mahomes for his stats when he threw to Tyreek Hill? Have you noticed the stats for Travis Kelce now that there is no Tyreek? Have you paid attention? Are you a real sports fan? Because I don't care about, like, being a casual. Like, I have no hard feelings towards casual fans at all. It's okay. Like, I get it. Like, I'm a nerd for this stuff. Like, I'm in love with football. So that's okay. Like, you don't need to be like me. You don't need to know every fucking stat and every percentage and this and that. That's okay. That doesn't mean you don't love the game, that you don't love your team. I'm okay with that. But don't try to tell me what the facts are. Don't try to tell me who's better than who if you know that you're a casual. Don't try to fill in the blanks with your own guesses when there are actual stats and numbers. It's crazy. It's disrespectful. The fact that I haven't cursed throughout that whole rant is the craziest part of all. Fins up, baby. But anyways, Jesus, I'm fucking insane. Let me try to get into some fucking highlights here. Alright, so I'm back. I'm going to jump through back and forth some of these highlights because that's what the fuck I want to do. I mean, obviously, we've had the Patriots number for a little while now, since Tua's been playing, especially in the last 2 seasons. I don't even remember. Well, I do remember. Actually, that'd be a lie. I'm not that humble. The last time I remember watching the Dolphins lose to the Patriots was when we opened up in week 1 when they had Cam Newton and it was in New England and we lost. Close game, but whatever. There's just a beautiful back shoulder throw that's coming up to Jalen Waddle. Tua sling it inside, it's caught. Jalen Waddle. Christian All right. So I'm going to show you guys this interception, and then I have something to read to y'all. Terrible throw. Play it back. Terrible throw. Tua's really good at knowing where the receiver's supposed to be, trying to get his reads. And sometimes he sticks too much to his reads, doesn't, progress or whatever. And that's why he only has 7 interceptions, because that's why I say sometimes. Because a lot of the other times, obviously, because he has 18 touchdowns and 7 interceptions and 2,400 passing yards, he is making the right play. And I screenshot all these the other day because it's too much for me to try to pull it up on the computer and show y'all. But he had he's had multiple turnovers, and we have scored off of, I think it's like let's just call it 90%. We have scored a touchdown after 90% of his turnovers, because some of his turnovers were counted against him, even though it was like a missed snap by the center or the running back not handling the handoff, which happened this last weekend, where Raheem Mostert did not handle the handoff, or Salvin Ahmed, whoever it was, we'll see it later, and then it ended up being counted against him, and then we scored immediately after. Okay, so after pausing for a second, I realized that's really not worth it to try to read off these screenshots because it's so stupid. But it's about 5 or 6 turnovers that we had this season that we immediately scored touchdown afterwards. A majority of them being a passing touchdown from Tua or a rushing touchdown from Raheem Mostert. Basically, we correct our mistakes and we immediately answer back. The only game that we did not do that in was against the Eagles. We did it against the Bills after a turnover, but obviously then it just got, out of hand because that was a 28-point loss. Against the Eagles, we had a pick and scored a touchdown after, but nonetheless. So I'm not going to bore you guys with me just reading off of my phone because that would be pretty stupid. But yeah, he throws a pick there. Yeah, great. They're going to end up scoring a touchdown afterwards. All right, so here we go. This is this extra motion that Mike McDaniel puts into the offense. The whole time he already knows he's throwing a Tyreek. And that is such a perfect fucking throw. And I haven't watched these highlights from YouTube. I already seen whatever. And yeah, of course not going to show the other angle. That is just such a fucking well-placed ball right over his shoulder. No chance of anything else happening. Of course it's Tyreek Hill, and he's so fast, whatever. But it's just so easy to say that Tua has, a good receiver. But I don't know when in the NFL we decided that a good quarterback having a good receiver punishes you. Why? Because why is this not pausing? If Tua was losing games and having bad games and throwing to Braxton Berrios majority of the time, or Cedric Wilson, or now Chase Claypool majority of the time, instead of Tyreek, everybody would say, what is he doing? Why are you not throwing it to Tyreek? Right? That's what they would say. But because he throws it to Tyreek, who doesn't even have the most targets in the NFL, doesn't even have the most receptions in the NFL, and you can fucking search up both of those stats. He doesn't have the most receptions or targets, but still has the most yards and most touchdowns, and he's being punished. It's truly unbelievable. And his yak is outstanding because he's the fastest wide receiver in the league, might be the fastest NFL player in the league, might be the fastest NFL player of all time. But still, 700 yards approximately were all caught at the spot of where he caught it. All those yards were accumulated by where he caught the ball, not from when he ran afterwards. Because they're not all fucking dump-offs. And this is not Madden. You don't just run screenplays over and over again. The level of hatred that people have for Tua and for the Miami Dolphins and their success is unbelievable. Now let's just watch Tua get an easy 4th and 4. Scramble up the middle of the field because he has his eyes down the field. He sees that it's open. Makes it happen. And now you're going to see him run this play action, take his little 3-step drop as he's rolling towards his left because he's a lefty. 1, 2, 3. Sees it, 4, 5, 6. But, he has his eyes downfield and he knows what's going to be open. He has a command of the offense. 3rd and 14. What a great play from Waddle. You got to love Waddle. You see my Waddle, guys?
As Robert Jones steps in now, at least for the moment. Here is Hill, slips a tackle, and that's going to be enough for the Miami first down. It'll be first.
Let's just finish watching then this touchdown drive. See, that was a screen pass to Tyreek. How'd that go? 4 yards? Great. Oh, yeah, that's where all of his yards came from. Cedric Wilson. And this is simple. I want to see his drop back. Snap, hut, 1, 2, not even. Barely. He just steps back and just immediately launches it. And that to me, that's not to say that's impressive. That any NFL quarterback should be able and can make that throw.
Furthest thing from his mind. How about
But he gets punished for making the throws that he should make. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know how to make it make more sense for the haters. Like, they're mad that he does what he's supposed to do. And then when he has these interceptions, it's like, oh, well, that takes it away. Like, what? I've never claimed for Tua to be the best quarterback of all time. And no Dolphin fan, obviously no NFL fan, because most NFL fans hate Tua. But no Dolphin fan will say he's the best quarterback of all time. But he has a good understanding of the offense. He has good leadership. And he just controls whatever he's doing. And obviously, ooh, no. Yeah, talk about Jalen Ramsey. Fuck all y'all. Look at that. Tries to look him off. He thinks that Jalen Ramsey is going the other way. Because I really want them to show the fucking other angle. Please show the other angle. Jalen Ramsey, the only thing I was mad at you about this is that you definitely could have made this a pick six. But it's okay. It was such a beautiful play. Because, and that's why I hate this. I mean, I love the camera angle because you get to see, like, you know, what you want to see. But at that moment, right, I was trying to find my marker. I don't even feel like doing it. But just follow my cursor. See my cursor, guys? It's right here. Right here next to the 10, right? So, before this play, and a lot of you might have already seen it, but I'm still going to fucking talk about it anyways, is that Jalen Ramsey was, well, let me run it back a little bit. See if I can get it as early as possible. So you see where he's coming from? He's right here. Moments before that, he was backpedaling and acting like he wasn't acting like anything. He just had his eyes on the quarterback because he's backpedaling and staring down this deep receiver, most likely out the slot, because I don't remember. And as soon as Mac Jones loaded it up and went to throw it down the field, that's when he turns around and makes his big play at the end of the first half. And Mike McDaniel had the best quote of all time. Let me find it for you guys real quick. So this is Mike McDaniel when being asked from a reporter during the press conference immediately after our game on Sunday against the Patriots, asking about how he felt on Jalen Ramsey's performance, I guess, because you can really barely hear the reporters asking questions during these press conferences on the YouTube videos that they post.
Well, he totally disappointed me. He called that he was going to come back and have a pick six, not a pick field goal.
Yeah. So basically, without Mike McDaniel boasting about how excited he was for Jalen Ramsey to come back, he already knew that he was going to have a big impact on the game. And, I mean, realistically, when you look at the replays, like, he definitely could have made it to a pick six. But, you know, it's just not how it works sometimes. We went out of bounds, but we did turn into a field goal. This was one of the craziest plays of the game. You'll see Jalen Waddle at the end, almost falling down, throws himself up off of his left leg to make sure he can dive and make that catch. Oh, that's a little too early. You gotta love Jalen Waddle. Like, this was Jalen Waddle as wide receiver 1 this week.
He has the release to be able to deal with this on the offensive line. That's Mostert in motion, 2nd and 14.
Jesus.
What a pass!
What a pass indeed, my friends. What a pass indeed.
Something that bears watching. 3rd and 6. Tagovailoa protected to the end zone and incomplete.
And then, I mean, obviously it's an overthrow, whatever. He just makes a responsible play, make sure he doesn't turn the ball over, and we get this field goal at the end of the half. And there you go. There's another example. So you see that? Immediately, and that's one of the plays I was talking about where there are some turnovers counted towards Tua, where it's a hand, and that's one of those. That's a handoff, and Raheem Mostert doesn't handle the ball, but it counts as a fumble on Tua. Where we score pretty much immediately after every time. And that's twice. So in this game, there's twice that we turn the ball over and score immediately after. And this time we held them to a field goal. so they get to feel better about themselves and think like, okay, because the half should have ended 17-14, so now they immediately get it back to 10-17, which makes it a one-score game once again. But now we're gonna go down the field and we're gonna go score. Oh, look at that! What a quick dump off to Tyreek. That was a little 2-yard dump off, right? Fucking hating ass bums. It's unbelievable. He knows where everybody is. Look at that. Yeah, 2 guys wide open. Oh, and let's not even talk. And obviously, this is a highlight reel. I'm not going through the condensed game film that I did earlier in the year. Tonight, at least, because I came off of work, full transparency, and I just wanted to get a podcast out. So I would have had more plays available to at least show you guys everything that happened. But Jalen Waddle had a bad game in terms of drops and ball security. You know, Raheem Mostert's already had like 3 fumbles on season, but this one doesn't count. The Raheem Mostert fumble from earlier that we just talked about and that we saw. Oh, look at that. Why do you... Darren Smythe gets fucking concussed basically on this hit. 2 games that we played against the Patriots and they concussed 2 players. Well, actually, no, 2 players. They concussed Jalen Waddle. Darren Smythe definitely concussed on that. And here's just an easy little Raheem Mostert touchdown. Now, this is like 3rd and 9. This is a huge pass and catch from Tua to Tyreek. High pointed ball. Tyreek makes a catch. Thankfully, the referees, no longer care about the Patriots. And they actually give us the spot of where the ball was caught. You guys want to see something fun? So, oh God, why is my space bar like working all the time? So, this is obviously a man coverage. Definitely with 2 high safeties, right? But what's happening, basically, is that when they put Tyreek in motion, they have been coached up, especially after already playing us in week 2. And they apparently, from football standards, they held Tyreek in check, even though he had his 1 touchdown, but he only had like 50, 60 yards. Don't quote me. I really don't remember, and I'm not going to look it up because that's not the point. You have number 13 over here. I know Christian Gonzalez is not on the field. Their rookie cornerback, he's hurt. They have him following. I know J.C. Jackson is somewhere out there because J.C. Jackson got traded back to the Patriots. I don't know about traded back, but, he's back at the Patriots. And they're very over-concerned, and that's why we run these motion plays so often to create havoc and create confusion on the defense. If you really look at it, there is 1 tight end who's going to definitely start with a chip block, go out for a pass, 2 running backs, and another wide receiver. So as a normal defensive player, you're thinking it's just like a normal read option with a short pass, which is exactly what it is. It's a read option with a short pass. But Tyreek Hill adds that flavor, adds that threat, adds that, that fear that a bigger play is coming. And the cornerback or DB, let's say, because I really don't know the guys on the Patriots defense anymore. I used to, but I'm not concerned about them anymore. The one who's supposed to cover Jalen Waddle, who's right here, is going to end up being distracted by Tyreek Hill's motion, who's on a wheel route, where Jalen Waddle is running a slant. Tyreek Hill is in motion to run a wheel. And Tua Tagovailoa is staring down after the ball snapped Tyreek Hill on that wheel route, and then obviously sees that Jalen Waddle is running wide open with nobody over top. And I mean, that's how you know it's a man coverage, because there's no zone. and is wide open, has a free walk to the end zone for the dagger touchdown. Now we'll run it back.
As they play from the 31
Boom.
yard line.
Wheel route, looking at Tyreek, takes away his coverage. I don't know if you guys can see that, and this is... I don't know why my space bar is being so stupid. See, he gets the ball. He's looking straight at Tyreek. And I keep using my fingers so you guys see it. But you see, he's looking straight at Tyreek Hill. Jalen Waddle is about... As soon as he passes this linebacker, see you later. Just want to see it again. Staring at Tyreek, Jalen Waddle over the middle. And in fairness, oh, now my space bar works. In fairness, if they don't double cover Tyreek right there, like right there, you see like how Waddle's calling for the ball? If he does not come to help on Tyreek's wheel route, look at how Tyreek is already ahead of this DB, right? And by the time Jalen Waddle has the ball, let's say that he was actually covering him, Tua could have just thrown that bomb 10 yards down the field, and Tyreek would have had another touchdown. And Waddle, and you know, this commentator really missed an opportunity. He said waltz in. Let's hear that again. Waddle is gonna waddle in, you idiot. You meant to say Waddle is gonna waddle in, you idiot.
The key sequence to me was right.
And then that doesn't matter anymore. The Dolphins are good people. Get used to it. Well, now that I'm done with football, let's just do my bartender pet peeve of the week. I already remember it. I don't even need... Let me lean back and get comfortable. Oh, jeez. What's going on here? Oh, wire from my headset. I don't even need... Alright, so hear me out. If it's the end of the night, okay, and we're closing, the bar's closed, the lights are on, the TVs are off, the music is off, and I just closed you out, right? You paid me. It's my bartender pet peeve of the week. You paid me. You tipped me. And you decided not to tip me very well. Do not ask me for another drink now that I'm closed. Do not ask me for a free drink after you close out, because obviously, you know how it is. Like, I don't even have to explain it. Like, I want to explain it, but you guys already know what you're doing. You know, like, we're not fucking stupid. Let me get one more for the road. Hey, any way you can fill me up a little bit? I've done it. I've asked people. I've asked other bartenders for it, right? But when I've done it, I tip them minimum 20%. Let me just put it like that, because I'm not gonna, it doesn't matter. It don't need to be that you tip me 100, you tip me 50, you tip me 500. Like, I've had all types of tips. I've had them, and look at me. You think I'm a piece of shit? I'm an asshole, right? I'm a fucking dickhead. All I care about is sports, and all I care about is making money. You could tip me if you tip me 20%, and you're polite and you're kind and patient, and you want one more drink before you leave, yeah, I'll probably hook you up. You want a to-go cup for your drink, even though we're not supposed to do it, I'll do that. But if you just closed out on a $70 tab, for example, $70 tab, 10%, right? It's really easy. I don't know. I know a lot of people are shitty at math, but I could tell you that 10% of 70 is $70. It's 70. 10% of $70 is $7, right? So that means that 20% would be times 2. That's $14. So if you tip me $8 on a $70 tab, I'm not giving you another drink. Even and it might just be because I'm doing my job or there's a manager in the corner, but just know that, let's say in a perfect world that I could actually give it to you and get away with it, no fucking shot. If you gave me 10% on a $70 tab. Say $100 tab. You give me $10, 10%, and you want one more drink, not gonna fucking happen. You want a to-go cup, not gonna fucking happen. Oh, the manager just walked away, nobody's watching, you only tip me 10%, not gonna happen. I'm not saying, and you know what's the craziest part is that it's almost like I feel like I have to explain it because we're in a customer service industry and we have to like make people feel like whatever's not going their way is explainable. I shouldn't have to explain that because first of all, no matter what common sense says, we are closed, everything's done. I cannot serve you anymore. Technically, by law, we do not have a license to serve you past a certain point. That's why sometimes you go to a gas station or to a convenience store and their beer coolers are locked or the beers are put in the back. You can't even see them. You don't see a lot in the little, like, you know, the more ghetto areas or whatever. But, like, you know, and that's not, like, to be disrespectful, but, like, you go through Aventura, you go through Sunny Isles, you go through Golden Glades, like, Golden Beach, whatever, like, they have certain, like, some convenient, like, Walgreens and CVS type stores, like, they put away their beer, their 6-packs and 12-packs. They make sure they're not on display at a certain time of night because they are not available for sale. And that is because there is a legality to it. There is a license involved. And that's the same thing for restaurants. Like, I mean, if you want to just take your beer and fucking run away, good for you. Go ahead. I'm not going to stop you because I don't care enough. But if you're going to ask me for a favor and you already have not taken care of me, I don't even know what you're asking for. I mean, it's pretty simple. It's very simple. It's crazy to me that I have to describe these things, but when I realized it the other day, and I had somebody like ask, like genuinely, I had somebody who tipped me like $5 after being there for like 4 hours, and we already closed them out. And the lights are on, the music is off. I already have a shutter closed. He said, "Can I get one for the road?" I said, "No." He's like, "Wow, really?" And you can see the disappointment and see the anger in your face. You know what's crazy is that you can show me your anger and your disappointment when I don't give you what you want, but you give me a shitty fucking tip and you want me to give you that? Anyways, thank you guys so much. Anybody and everybody who's tuned in to any amount of episodes, if this is your first one, I love you. I love you so much. Thank you for listening. Thank you for paying attention. Thank you for supporting me. I mean, I don't even know how to express how thankful I am for anybody who's ever put any of their own time, like of their lives, right? Like, because I understand that this takes time out of my life to create this content, to put out there into the world, right? And I have minimal viewers and minimal listeners. So if you're one of those people who takes time out of your lives to listen or view / watch me, then I fucking appreciate you. And you're the type of person that people need in their lives because you're a supporter. Well, anyways, I love you guys. For God's sakes, please love yourselves. I'll catch you next time.
Yeah. It's bigger than life itself. Trying to make a name for myself, you feel me? Be outside.